What are your first memories? The first time you went to Chubbtown and you went by yourself without your parents?
Well, I was like 5 years old, but I don't remember a lot. I just remember getting on the train, and riding down. And it seemed like a nice trip. It just was a long, long time. It seemed like to me, when you're 5 years old, going 500 miles is a long way and a long time. So it took like all day long to get there. So when I got there, I don't quite remember everything, but I know my grandfather was there to pick me up.
All right. And what are some of the fun memories, like in the morning time? What was the morning times like?
Well, the morning time was like, it was sort of funny because my grandfather, he would come through the hall and ringing a bell for me to get up early in the morning. And this little bell that he rung. So every morning he would come through the hall ringing the bell. So I knew it was time to get up and we were going to do something. He always had the day planned out for us, Whatever work we was going to do, whatever I could do at 5, I was trying to do it.
All right. What did Mama Chug cook you for a breakfast?
Oh, we had grits and we would have eggs and bacon and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you and your grandpa got together doing some of the days, what kind of things did you do with him?
What kind of days would I do?
What kind of things did you do with your grandfather?
Oh, whatever he needed me to do. Most of the time it was little stuff when I was real small. Little things. We would do. Just going out and get gasoline cans and stuff like that. Whatever I could do, whatever he was gonna do for that day. That's whatever I could do for him. But he was in great health then. He just had a slight type of arthritis at that time.
All right. And what are some of your fond memories when you would go into town with him?
Oh, going to town with him, I was a apartment addict way back there. I was wondering why he was driving so slow when he was on this big old highway. It seemed like to me, I always wanted that though. It was a nice straight highway because the little road that we was on, was real narrow and rocky and stuff like that. No concrete, no pavement or anything, And plus it was dark, but I never was out at dark,
And when you two got to town, what did you do? Did you just walk around or what happened?
Most of the time, my grandmother would go. They would always be taking care of business most of the time, and she would always go in the bank, And that's all I remember that part. She would go to the bank or either go to a little store they called Casey's at that time. There was no Kroger's or anything like that, down there. So the store that I remember was a Piggly Wiggly and a store called Casey's. And the Piggly Wigglies was in Rome, and the other store, Casey's, was in Cedartown. So, those are the things that I remember at that particular time,
Okay. Did you ever stop for like ice cream or hamburgers while you were in town? Or anything?
No. There was nowhere for us to stop. There was no McDonald's like that. Well, no McDonald's, no Burger King. Only thing I can remember, we would have an Eddie Murphy. Hamburgers, that means that you make your, you had your own ground beef and you make your own hamburger. That was it's sort of funny because, the kids would never believe that there was always not a McDonald's, No McDonald's, no Burger King, none of that stuff.
What about a Dairy Queen ice cream?
No, none of them either. When my grandmother would make ice cream, that's what she would make ice cream some kind of way. I don't know how they did it. They had a bucket or something. They would be churning and stirring and stuff like that,
Right.
I remember that part.
Okay, how did the ice cream taste that they made?
It tastes pretty good, especially when you hadn't had none before.
All right. Now, what kind of things, like after you came from town, and what do you remember doing with your grandparents?
Are we still talking about when I was 5 years old or older?
It can be older, just some of the memories.
Okay, repeat the question.
This is live streaming, y'all. What kind of things did you do, like in the afternoons with your grandpa?
She do that afternoon. It was so hot in Georgia. Only thing we did was sit on the front porch with a fan. I ain't not talking about no electric fan. I'm talking about a fan. A fan you fan yourself with, like when you go to church. The kind of fan they have in churches, you know, those paper fans. You just fan. That's all we would do in the afternoon because it's too hot to do anything. Yeah.
And what was the favorite thing? One of the favorite things your grandmother would make for you guys to drink?
I would say lemonade.
All right. And what was your favorite food that your grandmother cooked?
I'm a breakfast person, so it always had to be something to do with breakfast. You know, it had to be bacon, eggs, sausage, grits, and stuff like that.
So did the neighbors come over to visit while you were there?
Neighbors? We had no neighbors. Yeah. My grandfather had 500 acres of shoes. And there was no neighbors. The only thing I had was my cousins. They would come up every now and then, you know. But other than that, that was it. I do remember one thing though that we did, and I was a little bit older, and we would sit on the porch, and my grandfather he got bored a lot, you know, because he was at that time he had arthritis, and he would just just sit in his wheelchair and stuff like that, and he'd always tell me to go get his gun, you know. It was a 410. I don't know what that is now, but I know it's a shotgun. But anyway, we were just sitting on the porch, and he'd say, well, Pooch, like he told me to go get his gun. I already knew which one to get because I'd been getting it for years ever since I come down there. And then he put the gun on. He had to put the gun on his shoulder, and look, we were sitting on the front porch, and the porch was screened in, so he took and shot something. It was a lizard, one of them little bitty lizards. What you call it, Charles? What was those? Huh?
Salamander.
Yeah, salamander, a lizard that was on the porch, you know. And he just shot. He shot. So my grandmother, she came out. She said, "What are you doing now?" He said, "I just shot a lizard." Then when you knocked a hole in the screen. He said, "But I didn't miss it, though."
You mean he shot through the screen?
Yeah, they killed a lizard because we was in the screen-in porch, you know. He said, "But I bet you I didn't miss it." She said, "You and Pooch?" He said, "I'm doing that. I'm going to do a job."
Was there ever like any storms or real heavy thunderstorms and wind or tornadoes down there during your visits?
I think the only tornado that we started was our own, and it started like this. My grandfather, again, he was sitting on the porch. He was bored, and I was sitting there, and my grandmother, she was back in the house doing something. I don't know what she was doing. But anyway, he said, "Pooch," he said, "I want you to go down there, and he said, I want you to put a little torch right here, it wasn't a torch, it was I had to get a bucket. It had a gasoline. That's what it was, a bucket of gasoline." So we had a big old. We had a long strip of land that was going straight in front of the house, you know. And so I would put a little bit of gas here and go all the way down and all the way down. And so then he had me to light it with a lighter. With a match. I lit it, and then the whole thing caught on fire, going all the way down. And then we burnt the whole front up, all the way. It must have been 1/8 of a mile. It going back and forth, you know.
Wow.
It ate up, burnt up the apple trees and everything, you know.
Now, did he mean to burn the grass?
No, we were just gonna burn the terrace. That's all. We was gonna burn the terrace off, you know.
Oh, okay.
But that fire got out of control. So he was confined to the chair, and I couldn't control that. So we did have a phone. So my grandmother, she called. They didn't have a fire department at that time, so they called the people that had equipment, you know, bulldozers and stuff like that. So they had they had to put the fire out that way, you know.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
but that was it was the whole thing was all black. Everything with the fire had get. I think it took them all day to get that out.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. So
Did it come near the house?
no, it went away from the house.
And what was Sunday service like when you go to church? You know, what was the atmosphere like and the people like in that time?
Well, at that time, it was very good. There was a lot of people that went to church, you know, a lot of younger people, you know, and some of the teenagers and stuff like that, you know. And the church was basically filled up with people, you know, filled up all the time.
And was the name always Chubb Chapel?
Yes, always Chubbtown.
And while you're sitting in church, what are some of your memories looking around at the people in church?
Well, I guess it'd probably be the same memories that they would have today, you know, except I feel like the people there was having a better time at church, and they enjoyed church. So, well, and I enjoyed being there too, you know. All I could do was listen. They had a lot of great singers, you know, singing and stuff. So,
Did they ever have any of those big church dinners they used to have? We see people on TV having those big church dinners, you know.
I don't remember any of them, but the only thing I know is that what my aunt had told me what they used to have a long time ago. She told me, Pooch, there are two things I'm not gonna do when I get grown, you know. And cause she was already grown at that time. She said, cause I asked her about a few things. She said, I said to myself, there's two things I wasn't gonna do when I got grown. That's what she said. I said, well, what is that, Aunt Meg? She said, I'm not gonna cook and I'm not gonna fan.
She's not gonna cook and not gonna what?
I understand about cooking. I said, but I don't know what fanning is. She said, me and Dale, your mother, had to fan people that come to our house all the time with a fan, you know. She said then they would eat up all the food and everything and you wouldn't get nothing. She said, so she swore that she wasn't going to cook and she wasn't fanning nobody, you know.
And what's your first memories of some family reunions you guys used to have?
Oh, we had a great family reunion. Of the Sams, I'll put it that way, because my grandmother was a Sam, so most of the time that we always went to the Sam family reunion. I didn't even know the Chubbs even had a family reunion. In fact, I was really thought they were both of us together.
And Pooch, what were some more experiences that you had with your grandfather?
Well, early in the mornings, we would get up. Like I said, he would ring the bell coming through the hall down there. So that was time for me to get up. And then he would have a daily chores that we were going to do and things that we were going to do for that day. And so one day, he decided that he was going to put the plow and stuff on his tractor and stuff like that. Well, it wasn't actually a plow. It was a thing that you cut the grass with, blades and stuff like that. So I didn't actually know how to do it, but he had a memory that was really, really strong. So he knew how to do everything. So he would have me to drag out these certain things, and then he would show me how to put it together. So I put it all together for him. I was only about 10 years old, I think. We put it together. I thought that was going to be all it was. But he decided that he wanted to go down to his lakes, you know, and check the lakes out. So he had me to stand up on the back of the tractor, you know, with the little platform that I could stand up on. And we would get on the tractor and we'd go all the way down to his lake, which was maybe a couple of miles away. I would ride on the back down there and we'd get down there. And like I said, he had arthritis, so he couldn't walk or anything like that. So if anything would happen, it would be a total disaster, you know. But anyway, we made it down there, and then he'd give me the key to the cabin, so I'd go in and walk in the cabin and stuff like that, and look and see what we had. They had snacks and stuff down there because they sold. My grandmother sold stuff out of the cabin. You know, she sell little cakes and cookies and stuff like that. You know. And as they call it down south, sodas, you know, that's what they call it down there, sodas. So It had sodas already in there, so he would cut around the lakes and stuff like that. You know? And then we would come back, and my grandmother would have a fit because she didn't know, you didn't know if anything had happened to us or not, you know. But there's nothing down there, you know. You didn't have no ambulance or no hospital, nowhere close, you know. But that was some of the experiences that I had did with him down there, you know, besides the other stuff that I talked to you about earlier.
Now, what about when you guys got ready to get fresh eggs at the, was it the hen house? Or?
Oh, okay. All right, that was the experience that we had at the hen house. My grandmother would go out to the hen house, and she would get the eggs out of the thing. And then one day, I was down there, me and my brother was down there, and she went to the hen house and reached her hand, and there was a big old snake in there. So my grandfather, he was on the tractor, so he told my brother, he said, go get my 410. That was a shotgun that he had. So we always knew what that was. So he went and got it, and so he brought it out there, and he was sitting on the tractor with the gun, and the snake popped up out of the thing, and he shot the snake. So Jack said, he said, Granddaddy, you missed. He said, son, I never miss. So this big old snake come rolling up out of the thing up there. You know, my grandmother, she always kept a hoe with her, so she would make sure the snake was dead by hitting the snake with the hoe. Yeah. So that was one of the experiences right there. Yeah.
Wow. My goodness. What about this family reunion and cooking a pig in the ground or lumber stew?
Yeah. Yeah, we had family reunions, which was very, very nice. You know, it was basically, it was a Sam's family reunion because my grandmother was a Sam's, and so most of the ladies followed their mother, you know, which was a Sam's. So we'd all follow that side of the family for a long, long time, because although it was Chubbtown, I knew a lot of Chubbs, but I didn't know them like I did the Sams, you know, because they were the closer cousins. I mean, than most of the Chubbs, you know.
Okay.
I didn't know the Chubbs directly until I got a little bit older, you know.
Okay. And who was that cooked the pig in the ground, and how long did that take?
Yeah, that was my other cousin, Ellabelle. She's around, so one day we may get a chance to interview her because she could tell you how to do all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
You know, all I did was eat it and see it.
You had talked about some big catfish at one time.
Oh, yeah. I hope I'm not repeating myself from the previous time, but anyway, my cousin Ellabelle again, they had these big things that was laying up under these tarps, you know. So me and my other cousins and my nephews and stuff was walking down through there. So they maybe about 3 of them, they would maybe be 7 or 8 feet long, and they had these big tarps over top of them, you know. So I asked them, I said, well, Alabama, I said, what's up under that tarp? She said, there's a fish up under there. I said, what? So I lifted it up. I swear it had to be the biggest catfish I ever seen in my life. I thought it was a body. In fact, it was a lot bigger than a body, you know.
Goodness.
And there was like 3 of them. So me and my nephews looked and said, I don't think we want to eat none of that.
Goodness.
And I asked, I said, well, what do you do with it, you know? She said, well, we chop it up like, you know, they make little bitty pieces of meat out of it. I don't know what they call it, but anyway, that's what they did with it. They cut them all up, you know, and they eat them, you know. I guess a little bit at a time. I guess I wasn't down there for none of that. I didn't eat none of that.
Wow, those are, now the water had to have been deep for a fish that long, right?
Well, I don't think they caught them at that, and caught them right there.
Oh, okay.
They caught them somewhere else, but they said the way that I understand how they catch them is they have to lay down on the ground and some kind of tunnel or something that the fish be in, and they reach their hand and then they grab them out. So you don't catch them with a pole or nothing like that. That's like some kind of way you have to pull the fish out from under the ground some kind of way, or under the. I guess I'm not phrasing that right, but that's where they be at, like that. So you could look it up if you wanted to see how they catch them, but that's how they do it though. It's by hand. They pull them out.
Well, my goodness. Anything else that you'd like to reflect on today, or your thoughts about Chubbtown?
Um, well, I'm always open to questions. That's the only thing I can say. There's a lot of stuff I know I'm missing, but I mean, if the question is not asked, I don't really think too much about it, you know. But I love going down there all the time, and things are getting better and better. It's Chubbtown right now is not for the weak or for the people who want city lives. It's for people who like to live in the country and want the country to stay the country. But if you want that Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff like that, you need to stay in the city. But you're not going to be happy down there at all.
Now, are they making?
But if you like peace and quietness, and you want a place that you could build and have a nice home and stuff like that, just a homely type body, then that's the way you could go. But if you're looking for the city life, don't go. Just if you want to go, just go to look and come back home.
Okay.
Now, it's not going to be what you want.
Are they making provisions to put in Wi-Fi down there, internet?
They do have the internet right now. That's a step right in the right direction.
Oh, they do have the internet now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I have cousins that's working on those kind of things, you know, to have it, you know. But pretty much the country is the way it always has been, pretty much. And people are keeping it that way. The people that's moving down there now, they really like the way that it is. So they building their structures up above and down below. So you don't see it, and it doesn't take away anything from the country part, you know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, and all the modern, I mean, they do have everything that you would want in a house and stuff like that. It's just that some of the newer technologies are not down there. I guess I should have put it that way in the beginning.
All right. All right.
But
Well,
I like it.
Amen. Well, if you're looking for somewhere that's peaceful and quiet and streams flowing and what have you, remember there is a place.
And family life, right?
A lot of family life, good living, good country living, praise God. Just get in touch with Pooch. Leave him a little message and he can message you back if you have any questions. All right, have a great day.